Imagine being 100 meters deep inside an underwater cave. There's no sunlight, no sense of time. Your air is running out. You have no food, no clear way back, only the sound of your own breathing echoing off the stone walls. Now imagine enduring this not for minutes, not for hours, but for 5 entire days. To understand this story, we need to start with the place where it happened. Furong Town, also known as Hibiscus Town, is one of those postcard-perfect locations in China's Hunan province. Surrounded by mountains and rivers, it's a region carved by nature into breathtaking karst landscapes. Towering limestone cliffs, waterfalls, and hidden caves dot the area, attracting tourists, adventurers, and of course, divers. But beneath its beauty lies danger. Karst caves are notorious for their complexity. They are formed over millions of years as water dissolves limestone, creating twisting tunnels, narrow passageways, and unpredictable air pockets. These underwater caves are extremely dangerous for divers, even experienced ones. Unlike open water, where you can ascend to the surface if something goes wrong, in a cave system, you may have to navigate hundreds of meters back to the entrance just to find fresh air. One wrong turn can mean death. For local divers and thrill seekers, these caves represent the ultimate challenge and the ultimate risk. And Wang, a middle-aged diving enthusiast, was one of them. On July 19, 2025, Wang set out for what was supposed to be a routine dive. He was familiar with the river and its hidden cave entrances, but that day, something went terribly wrong. We may never know exactly why he swam deeper into the cave system. Maybe it was curiosity, maybe he wanted to explore further than before, or maybe he became disoriented and was swept inward by the current. What we do know is that once inside, he quickly realized his oxygen was running low. In cave diving, this is every diver's nightmare. Turning back was no longer an option. He had gone too deep, too fast, with not enough air left to make it out. Imagine the panic. You're underwater, your lungs burning, and you know your tank is almost empty. You push forward desperately, hoping to find a way up. And then, miraculously, you do. Wang's desperate search brought him to a natural air pocket inside the cave, a dome-shaped cavity above the waterline where trapped air allowed him to breathe. It wasn't much, but it was enough to save him from drowning in that moment. But in reality, he hadn't escaped danger. He had only traded one deadly situation for another, because now he was alive but trapped. The first hours must have been pure panic. The human brain isn't designed for pitch darkness. Without light, time itself becomes meaningless. Was it morning or night? Had minutes or hours passed? On the first day, Wang would have been adjusting, both physically and mentally. His wetsuit soaked, the air heavy and stale, and his mind racing. He likely shouted, hoping rescuers could hear him through the stone walls. But no sound carried beyond the cave. He was utterly alone. His initial instinct must have been to conserve energy, to breathe slowly, to fight the rising tide of panic. Because panic in a place like that isn't just dangerous, it's deadly. Hyperventilating burns oxygen faster, and in a confined air pocket, every breath matters. That night, or what he thought was night, hunger and thirst began to creep in. He had no food, no clean water. The only option was to survive on what little the cave might provide. By day 2, the reality of the situation would have set in. Rescue, if it was coming at all, was still nowhere in sight. Wang was trapped in a confined dome of air with limited oxygen. Every exhale added more carbon dioxide to the air, slowly poisoning the space. Breathing became heavier, dizziness crept in, and fatigue weighed on him. But he wasn't entirely helpless. Reports later revealed that he survived by eating raw fish that entered the cave. Maybe they swam into the chamber with the river current. Maybe he caught them with his hands in the shallow water. Either way, they provided just enough sustenance to keep him alive. Imagine that, Crouched in total darkness, using nothing but your hands to catch slippery fish in cold water, then eating them raw, scales, bones and all, just to stave off death. Day 3 and 4 would have been a war inside his mind. Hallucinations are common in prolonged darkness and hypoxia. He might have heard voices, imagined lights, or felt like the cave walls were closing in. Loneliness and hopelessness pressed in as heavily as the rock around him. And then came day 5. By now, oxygen levels in his little chamber were critically low. Reports say it had dropped to 4%, though scientists argue whether that meant the oxygen in his tank, the cave pocket, or his blood oxygen level. Regardless, one thing is clear: Wang was on the very edge of survival. While Wang fought to stay alive, the outside world hadn't forgotten him. From the moment he was reported missing, local authorities launched a massive search operation. Police, volunteer divers, and even specialized rescue teams from Guangxi province joined in. It wasn't easy. The cave entrance was already 9 meters underwater. Rescuers had to dive deep into tight, twisting passageways in complete darkness, often risking their own lives with every meter forward. For 4 days, they found nothing. The search seemed hopeless. Most divers assumed no one could survive that long in such conditions. But on the 5th day, they went further, nearly 100 meters inside the cave. And there, against all odds, they found him. Alive. The moment must have been surreal. Imagine being trapped in the dark for 5 days, thinking you're already dead, and suddenly beams of light break through the water as rescuers emerge in front of you. Hope, after all this time, was real. Carefully, they guided Wang out of the cave. His body was weak, but astonishingly, he was able to walk on his own once they reached the shore. Cameras captured the moment he was wrapped in a blanket surrounded by rescuers. And then came that unforgettable line. His first words, "Do you have a cigarette?"